A lot about interim management is all about building relationships in advance of actually needing to. So in terms of clients, we like to build the relationship a long time before, so we actually build the groundwork and lay the foundation for any future work that might come along. And the same with interims. We're not a recruitment company who tend to look for candidates when they actually need them. We're constantly on the lookout for good candidates before we need them. So we already have that gene pool of known candidates that we can place very, very quickly.
You decided to go for 6 in this particular instance of Swissport. What were the particular characteristics of those 6 that you decided to put up?
Swissport are not necessarily a big organisation in terms of revenue. They've got thousands of ground crew, so therefore it's multi-sited, it's very complex in terms of locations across the country. So I wanted somebody who was bigger than that, who was good at running businesses, who understood the nuts and bolts of businesses, who could actually get in very quickly, gain credibility, and actually start to work on this turnaround. So from my point of view, it was very much about people who would actually go in there and instantly make an impact, as well as having all the tools in their toolkit to be able to get people on their side and understand what the faults were with the business.
The business was partway through a turnaround process, brand new board of directors, all within a few months of joining, lots of transitional change, and it was pretty clear that the chief executive's departure was going to be a pretty material impact if we didn't grab hold of things very, very quickly. And from a personal point of view, it was great because it's the kind of stuff I love doing.
Within the early days, we keep in contact with both the client and the candidate to make sure if there's any teething problems. There very rarely is, because they tend to go in and hit the ground running, and it's just a case of keeping in contact with them. But it's not just a case of file and forget. It's a case of keeping in contact with both sides of the party to make sure that everything is going as they were.
Critical at these things is honesty, both sides. I think I always go into these things expecting honesty from the client side and from the brief side, because if you don't get it warts and all, you can calibrate what's needed, and I do the same. And I think so it's a pretty frank exchange of question after question after question. What exactly does that look like? How exactly is that showing up? When exactly? It's a big diagnostic data gathering piece. Often what happens is you'll get a brief that starts in one place, but a bit of digging takes you to a slightly different place in terms of prioritisation, and that wasn't the case here, because there was very good, very open honesty both ways.
They're doing a very complex and heavy job. We need to make sure that they can dedicate all their time to actually delivery. So anything we can do to take the pressure off them, we will do in any way whatsoever.
If you walk in through the door, don't listen and start issuing instructions, people you probably get it wrong apart from anything else. But very quickly get into a relationship with the board, very quickly to the general management population, and then very quickly establishing or re-establishing what the set priorities are. So I think when you get to that, so you can always hear the organisation go, oh, and you get comments, but you always know you're getting it right when people go, you seem to have picked this up awfully quickly, which is the kind of great, because what you buy when you get an interim, I think you get the speed, and it's a different recruitment process, but you get somebody who's coming in with objectivity, so you're not tied into what's gone before or organisational politics or any of that kind of stuff, and you just do what needs to be done.
Once you are an interim in a position, what support do you get from BIE? Is it enough? Do you want support, or is it something that once you're in you just want to be left alone? Steve
was really good at regularly staying in touch, because I think both ways actually, both with the Swissport senior management to check how I was doing from a client point of view, but also check how it was going from me. And I think I think it is important in the sense of just maintaining that relationship, and there was always a sense that if there was anything that needed to be fixed, there was a conversation that could quite easily be had. And as it transpired, there was a need to extend the contract. The initial mission was to cope with a sudden departure, but then the second part of the mission moved into a different phase, which is managing a big piece of transitional change. And it felt like, and was handled like, two pieces of work from our point of view, but Steve adopted a very flexible approach with Swissport, and a very supportive approach to me about managing that transition.
Well, the case studies are fairly compelling in themselves, but if there is a company out there watching this and they haven't taken that step into the world of interim management so far, what would you say to them?
If they really want to find more about interims, then talk to us. We will spend time with anybody who doesn't understand interims or just want to know more about them. So we'll go and see them, we'll talk to any members of the board so that we can expand their knowledge. There's still a lot of people out there that don't quite understand the complex nature of interims.